Welcome back on this Friday afternoon. We are watching a large fire on the west side of Salt Lake City. Live pictures now from the scene. This is happening right about 4200 west and 700 south. We have a couple of different angles we can show you. This is a close-up angle of this massive fire. We're not sure about the facility where this is actually burning, but we have seen reports of pallets and buildings on fire, even perhaps grassy areas off to the near side of this building or structure that is on fire. And in fact, you see a tanker truck that is right there in front of it. You pull back, you see the view from our roof cam here in downtown Salt Lake City, and you look out there to Bangor Highway at about 3600 west and see how close that is to 4200.
You can see those flames just coming up out of those images. I want to read this tweet from the Salt Lake City Fire Department just now. It says, "Safety alert. Media and public should stay out of smoke until hazmat substances are known." They tweeted out earlier that they believe there is some. They had hazmat come out. It's been there on scene. They have possible hazmat materials, safety concern materials in that building. They originally tweeted that it was pallets in the building on fire, but it appears this is now spread perhaps to a nearby grass area or some sort of a field there. We are efforting, trying to get the Salt Lake City Police Fire Department rather to join us on the phone, as well as the Department of Environmental Quality, to find out what the impact on our air quality is as a result of what is coming off of this fire.
You see the winds blowing there in the distance. Can we have Dan Guthrie's mic come up? Dan, you mentioned the winds in the area are significant and could cause this to blow around.
Absolutely. In fact, yeah, you can see the winds really working their way through it. Especially when you see smoke, it doesn't go vertical, it goes more horizontal. I mean, we've got winds out of the south-southeast, 20 miles per hour, gusting up near 30 miles per hour, which we talked about would be an issue today. So definitely not ideal conditions. You mix that with our dew points are in the 30s. That means very low relative humidity, which means very easy for fires to spread, which is unfortunate at this moment.
If you're joining us on this Friday afternoon and looking to see what we have here, it is a large 3-alarm fire on the west side of Salt Lake City at about 4200 west, 700 south. Very close to Bangor Highway, very close to Interstate 80. We now understand that there have been multiple explosions seen and heard. This is also with this large amount of smoke blowing north or northwest, very close to the Salt Lake City International Airport. We are being told now authorities are advising citizens to avoid this area if you can at all possible.
Yeah, we do have multiple agencies involved trying to fight this fire. You can see that smoke going across the freeway. I think we probably need to check in with the Utah Highway Patrol now to find out if there is a potential that they need to shut down that area, because that is very dangerous for cars trying to get through that as well. Dan, what are our wind speeds? I mean, look at how fast that smoke is moving.
Yeah, we talked about how this was going to happen. We'll go ahead and show you why it's happening in our forecast in just a little bit. But overall, you can see when you get that horizontal smoke, that means that the winds are so strong that the smoke doesn't have time to go straight in the air. Now, we're trying to figure out what is going on with the facilities. I don't know if that's at a recycling plant or near a recycling plant over there. But yeah, we not only have, with the winds doing their thing, turning into a grass fire outside of just maybe a warehouse fire or whatever's taking place there. But unfortunately, the winds are going to stay at this clip as we work our way throughout the afternoon and into the evening, as well as dealing with the same thing for the day tomorrow.
All right, Dan, thank you. If we have a cycle of these cameras, let's continue to move through these cameras to get a better perspective. You saw some residents there who were standing very close to the smoke and obviously these large flames. We can cycle through these cameras, but I believe on the phone we have Donna Spangler from the Utah Department of Environmental Quality. Donna, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
What do you know on this Friday afternoon? What are you seeing?
Actually, I am learning about this as we speak right now. I was not aware of the fire, but it does sound like it's quite large and could have quite an impact.
In terms of potential material, when we're looking at this black, thick smoke and they are saying hazmat potential here, what is the risk, can you say, to the people in that area? I mean, how serious do they need to be taking getting out of harm's way with that smoke moving?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what it is that has caught on fire, so I don't know what chemicals could possibly be in the air. But I would say that as an individual, the closer you are to a fire, then obviously the more direct impact you're going to have. Fires in and of themselves do actually carry, small particulate pollution that get lodged in your lungs. If you're really close to it and you're inhaling it, you could actually, it could actually damage your lungs the more you breathe it in. So my advice would be, if you're really close, if you're inside, close your windows, try and keep the air from coming indoors as much as possible. And just, use common sense. If you're outside and you're starting to feel, your eyes itchy and irritable, just hard to breathe, then obviously there's something that is, causing the air to be impaired. So again, it's hard to tell right now since I'm not familiar with what is happening. But again, smoke can be, it does contain pollution in it of itself.
Donna, let me ask you this. We have heard word that there could be hazardous materials within this building or structure that is burning. In general, can those hazardous materials exit through smoke and be harmful to people? We are watching people drive along Interstate 80 through this very thick and very heavy black smoke that is a result of this fire.
Well, I would say as long as their windows are closed, I mean, even if they're driving and they don't have their windows open, I think that they could be okay. Again, it really depends. It depends on the wind direction, and it sounds like it's not dispersing up. It's just kind of blowing out, and so that kind of makes it a little trickier and probably, more hazardous if it's blowing in that direction. But again, it's hard for me to say.
All right, Donna Spengler from the Department of Environmental Quality. We appreciate you trying to provide some insight as to what this could potentially do in terms of our health issues. We will check in with you a little bit later once you get a little bit more information as to what is happening on the ground with the materials that are currently burning. But again, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. You are looking live here from the UDOT cameras, but this is a live look from the ground from our KSL camera. You can see the plumes of this big, thick smoke coming up into the air. This is the area 4200 west, 700 south. We're getting reports of multiple explosions associated with this fire. You can see those flames just in the corner there coming up from underneath that smoke. Dan Guthrie, again, let's touch on our weather conditions, where this is blowing, which direction.
So, guys, we've been talking about how those winds have been out of the south and southwest all day, with the wind speeds working their way up from 10 miles per hour to 15 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour. So here's a look from the station right now. You can actually see the LDS Business College here. So we're zoomed all the way out over towards the airport with that smoke. Again, going more horizontal than it is quicker to go vertical. Here's what the wind situation is right now. Most of the winds are working their way out of the south or southwest, in some cases southeast. But you can see these are sustained winds. These aren't wind gusts. These are just sustained winds working their way up from the teens into the 20s. What's more important right now is those wind gusts. Still sticking at 25 miles per hour here at Salt Lake, and you can see some more wind on its way, guys. So unfortunately, this is something that looks like that will continue, at least weather-wise, in terms of the winds all afternoon.
Dan, thank you for the update. Again, we want to reset here, let you know exactly what's going on as we watch this 3-alarm fire. Salt Lake City Fire Department, they are staying close, but advising people to stay away themselves. Do not go near this. Sometimes we see, and we can see a camera from atop our building where it appears as though cars are almost stopped along Bangor Highway, watching or at least just slowing down to rubberneck perhaps. They are advising people to stay away from this particular incident because they don't know what type of hazardous materials are burning. So they're advising people to just stay away if possible.
We just got confirmation that the Utah Highway Patrol, they are sending troopers to that area to assess the safety risk on the freeway. I believe you're looking at I-80, if I'm correct, headed east and west. They're going to take a look at that, see what happens as that smoke is coming over the freeway, if cars really should not be going through that. We hear a lot of chaos going on in our newsroom. I believe they're trying to effort some other folks on the phone for us as we try to determine what exactly is on fire, what hazmat is trying to deal with out there as they're looking at this 3-alarm fire. Again, the address for you, 4200 west and 700 south.
We do know that this fire is spreading. It is not contained to say at this time that it will get any smaller. Now, if you live in the northern part of the Salt Lake Valley or perhaps in Davis County, if you are perhaps going to or from the airport this afternoon, could be an impact, could be something that you may want to consider before you go on your travels today, because we can see these cameras of Interstate 80 near Bangor Highway, and they are covered in black smoke for just a small small portion, just a small area, but still it is very intense. And again, the Salt Lake City Fire Department telling us that indeed there may be some hazardous materials involved. They simply don't know just yet. And so we are watching this very closely on this Friday afternoon here in Salt Lake City.
Okay, we're getting preliminary reports that this is 16,000 gallons of oil perhaps in there. This is not confirmation. We are just hearing reports that this is oil involved in this. Andrew, I'm going to pass this off to you. I believe I might have a police chief calling me on the phone. Let me take this while you finish out that for a second.
All right, Shara, thanks. We will keep an eye on this. We're understanding now that there may be some possible evacuations as well that we're hearing about. This is based on some preliminary information. Again, we all know that in these types of instances, when there is a threat to the public, that information can come quickly, and sometimes it can be not necessarily the most of accurate information, but when we hear something and it concerns the public, we want to make sure that we pass it along to you as we watch the flames continue to build here. Shara, you have somebody on the phone here.
We do. We have Mark Bednarik, Captain Mark Bednarik, who is from the Salt Lake City Fire Department, on speakerphone on my cell phone. Mark, what can you tell us is going on out there?
Right now, we've got a commercial yard out here on the west side, about 4,400 west, 700 south. Pallets, trailers, campers, few buildings, all sorts of stuff on this yard. Not sure how the fire started, but large fire. We're the third alarm. We got responders from Salt Lake City, and command just called for a fifth alarm now. We've got responders coming from our neighboring agencies, including South Davis and South Salt Lake, West Valley. The fire, because of the wind, jumped 700 south. It spread to fields to the north of this incident, and in addition to the yard fire, we've got a grass fire that's burning towards I-80. We've notified the airport, not sure of any impact it's having on air travel at this time, if any. No injuries reported. We're just working right now on containing this blaze. We've got multiple explosions going off, small and large. You can probably hear through my phone. We believe there's hazardous materials involved in this, but don't know yet what those are, and we're not sure the cause yet.
What is this building, Mark, Captain Bednarik? What is this building where it's initially burning?
I don't have the specifics of that yet. I ended up actually on the opposite side of where our command post is, so I'm not sure from them if they've gathered that detail yet. I don't have the exact address. But it's one of these commercial storage yards that we have multiple of out on the west side. Looking at it, you can see barrels lining the fence line. You can see multiple old vehicles, pallets, semi-trailer, tractor trailers, portable sheds, those sort of things out here on this property. Given the heavy black smoke, it's hard to even see more than 30 or 40 feet in the yard. Other than black smoke and the fire within the smoke that you can see.
Okay. Captain Bednarik, I want to confirm, did you say this has now gone to a fifth alarm?
I just heard that over the radio as we were speaking.
Okay, this has now gone to a fifth alarm. We're looking at a commercial storage yard. Captain, we appreciate you joining us. In terms of safety, real quick, before we let you go, what is the risk to you and your firefighters and the residents in that area with that thick black smoke? Is there a warning for them right now?
Fortunately, there's not a lot of residents that are downwind from this, and the smoke coming off of the yard itself is actually lifting pretty much as soon as it crosses the street, but we would encourage the public to stay out of any of the smoke. The smoke from the grass fires are burning a little bit lower. That smoke is likely to drift across I-80 in between Banger and 5600 West, and could obscure view a little bit. So if you can avoid if you can avoid I-80 at this time, do so. But right now we don't have plans to shut that down. So if you're driving on I-80, both east and westbound between 5600 West and Banger, we just recommend that you slow down and take precautions like you would in a fog type situation.
All right, Captain Bednarik, we know you're super busy out there and you've got a lot you're dealing with. We'll let you go. We appreciate you joining us here on KSL. Thank you very much.
Great perspective now from Chopper 5 on this Friday afternoon as you see a wide shot of just how much smoke is coming off of this now 5-alarm fire. An exclusive shot from Chopper 5 impacting perhaps the air traffic into Salt Lake International Airport, certainly the traffic on the ground on Interstate 80. And then you see just how close it is, burning 2 parts of I-80 right there. You see it burning right over the lanes of Interstate 80, both east and westbound on this Friday. And
again, UHP is headed to that area to assess whether they need to actually close down I-80 there at 5600 West. You heard Captain Bednarik say there is that concern that this fire is moving towards the freeway and could potentially creep up on it. So they're asking folks in that area, please be very careful as you're driving through this area. He also confirmed that he said this was a commercial storage yard. They've got semis, they've got trailers, they've got old campers, they've got multiple things there that they're dealing with, and they're hearing lots of different explosions. We heard just in that phone conversation with Captain Bednarik, obviously calling through a cell phone, wasn't able to quickly patch him through, but he was able to, you could hear the wind, you could hear kind of what they're dealing with out there. With that, I want to turn it over to Dan real quick. Dan, I think that wind is what is really hindering their firefighting efforts.
Well, absolutely, especially when you see the grass fire, when you see it working its way towards, it looked like those were tracks or whatever, but how quickly it's kind of spreading its way to the north. And again, when it comes to the winds, we were talking about how this is going to be an issue, not just today, but the winds were going to start to creep up today and then be with us all weekend. Right now, they're out of the south. 15, 20 miles per hour, gusting right around 30 miles per hour, if not a little more. And this is what it's going to be like all afternoon and all day tomorrow and even into a little bit of Sunday. So yeah, weather-wise, when it comes to the winds, unfortunately, they are not going to be settling down anytime soon this afternoon.
All right, thank you, Dan. Again, taking a live look here from Chopper 5, you can see the scope of the flames coming from this fire in the area 4200 West, 700 South in Salt Lake City. This continues to spread. In no way is there a containment on this at this point. We heard firefighters, as we were on the phone, call out a 5th alarm for this fire, meaning they are pulling resources from all over the valley trying to fight this fire.
This is essentially all hands on deck for those who are within range to get here and help Salt Lake City Fire battle this particular blaze on this Friday afternoon. You saw a ladder truck just a moment ago. They've got a bit of a high angle there where they're trying to get some water on this from perspective a little bit higher up off the ground. We see Chopper 5 angling toward a bit and toward these flames. Now it is a 5-alarm fire on this Friday afternoon. West side of Salt Lake City. The threat here is not so much to necessarily anybody inside this facility because they don't believe anybody is in this particular area where the fire is burning, but also to people nearby. The drivers along Bangerter Highway, the drivers along Interstate 80. You see some of the people there walking around, presumably making sure that the perimeter is safe and secure. But we have seen a number of these cars just stop on the side of Bangerter Highway and stop on Interstate 80 to get a better look at what we presume is a very large fire and what, in fact, we can see from Chopper 5 on this Friday afternoon. Look at that grass field there. You can see just how much that has burned outside of this particular building. It's seemingly the white smoke that's coming from the grass fire, the black smoke from that facility that is on fire here on this Friday. You see Bangerter Highway there in the distance as well, heading out toward West Valley City, and that grass fire is now substantial. If we could have a Chopper 5 perhaps pull into some of those flames, you can see.
Look at the distance that fire has traveled in just the last hour that we have been becoming aware of this fire. Dan, I see you over there motioning. What do you got?
Another thing to point out is that this is south of I-80 with the winds blowing north. So if you have loved ones maybe at the airport or you're trying to get flights in, going out, notice with the winds, most of the time you take off and land into the wind. So most people are going to be coming in from the north. But if this continues to progress that way, this is all blowing toward the airport. We don't have any word on if this is causing any issues there, but that's just something to kind of keep in mind as this continues to burn, especially with the winds and the low relative humidities. It's going to take a while to get this thing under wraps.
This will be something we will be following for some time. If you're just joining us, a 5-alarm fire began at a facility on the west side of Salt Lake City. Now we see a fire line that is dangerously close to crossing Interstate 80 near the Salt Lake International Airport. Take a look. We have multiple angles from the ground as well as from the Utah Department of Transportation traffic cameras. We also have an exclusive look from Chopper 5 in the air. We'll be cycling through these cameras to give you a good perspective exactly where this fire is burning.
We are efforting getting the Utah Highway Patrol on the phone with us to let us know. Take a look right there. That is the image we are very concerned about as well for these vehicles that are traveling on I-80 right now. As that fire line you saw from Chopper 5 continues to reach that direction. We heard from Captain Mark Bednarik from the Salt Lake City Fire Department say that is a major concern for them right now. They're asking residents to, or travelers really, to be very aware of what's going on in this area and be very careful as you're approaching it. As soon as we can get UHP on the phone, we will go to them and find out what their plan is for those cars traveling. And here from Chopper 5, you can now see it looks like we do have some troopers in that area taking a look. Looks like they may just be slowing traffic in that area, or maybe that's just what motorists are doing on their own, knowing they're approaching something very dangerous.
All right, guys, in studio control, I want to keep Chopper 5's camera here, and I wanted to zoom in right down there to that fire line where it appears as though, to me,